Hare Krishna and welcome everyone to our weekly Bhagavad Gita discussion. Our topic for today is Purushottama Yoga. So we'll continue to look at some verses from 15th chapter. We'll conclude our discussion of this chapter. And so before we go there, we'll do a quick recap of this 15th chapter. You know what all we have discussed over last few sessions. So this particular chapter starts by Krishna explaining. Krishna starts this discussion. So there's no question at the beginning of this chapter. Arjuna is not asking any question, but Krishna continues. He's discussed about modes of material nature, and then he continue the flow of his discussion, and start explaining the nature of this material world. The modes are like pouring water to the seed, but and then the what grows is this material world, the plant or the the banyan tree. That's the metaphor that Krishna is using at the beginning of this chapter to describe this material world, what it is exactly. So Krishna is explaining that the how this in the first 5 verses, Krishna starting with the Urdhva Mula Madhashakam, Krishna begin his explanation, and in the first 5 verses Krishna explains how complex this material world is. That the material world is not easy to understand. It's not easy to figure out. And Krishna explains this, that this is a reflection. So by the moment you call something a reflection, when you see there is an original object that exists as well. So this reflection is that of a spiritual world. And this reflection, Prabhupada gives that example, analogy, that as you see a reflection of tree in water, and that if the tree has a mango fruit, it's impossible for anybody to enjoy looking at the reflection and trying to pluck the fruit and enjoy. It's impossible to enjoy in the material world. So you have to turn your eyes away from reflection towards the original object. Spiritual world, Krishna himself and spiritual world is that original object. It is said that spiritual world is three-fourth space, occupies the three-fourth space, and material world is a very small one-fourth space. So this world is extremely complex. So here this world is given a upama or a metaphor, that of a banyan tree, which has its roots going upwards and branches going downwards. Plus they doesn't just stop with that. The branches go upward and downward, both in both the directions they go. That's what indicates that the living entities can, those who have taken birth in human life, can also go upward and downward. They can go to better species. They can degrade themselves if their activities are not fitting. They can go to the lower species of life, and worst, they can become animals as well. So this whole tree is extremely complex to figure out. And Krishna advises that don't try to figure out, just get out. Survive in this world using the facilities I am providing. Spend your time here cultivating knowledge and performing devotional service. With these two tools, just get out of this, become qualified to go to the spiritual world and get out of this material world, enter the spiritual world. That's the simple message. And how should that happen? Krishna is saying, don't waste your time here. Nobody will be able to figure out in this material world. And even if you think you have figured out, the old age, disease, and death will catch up with you, and then you will have to change body and you will have to restart all over again. So there is no permanent happiness in this world. There is no permanent life available in this world. Both these features belong to the spiritual world. Since you have come from the spiritual world, you have those desires to live for eternity in this material world. How? Because you have experienced eternity of life in the when you were living in the spiritual world. So that concept is not foreign to you. It's like if anybody who has lived in America, eaten pizza all his life, even if he traveled to the deepest jungles in Africa, since he has experienced pizza, his desire for pizza will never go away. It will not be available in the deepest jungles of Africa today. However, the person has prior experience of eating pizza and enjoying pizzas while he was living in America. So he continued to carry that desire with him and continue to endeavor to find out pizza if that is available. If that can I get the same taste that I had relished when I was in America, in the deepest forests of Africa where there is uh, no such pizza available. Even though there is no such pizza available, this person still carries that conception from his previous experience of pizza, having relished the pizza. So similarly, we are carrying this conception with us that the life can be eternal and we can be ever blissful. Both these concepts the soul has experienced while he's during his stay in the spiritual world, before we came into the material world. So it try to find out these two things in this material world and fails repeatedly. But Krishna says that get qualified and get out. Just like you enter a college, IIM institute, kind of like a IIM Kolkata, IIM Ahmedabad. You, with a lot of hard work, you enter that college, get admission. Then you will try to figure out where you will stay, where you will eat, where you will buy your clothes from, where you will buy your daily needs from, and where are your classroom, where is your library, how you will study. You will plan everything. But the objective of trying to figure out multiple things is not to stay in that college permanently. Objective is to stay for the duration that you need to stay there and acquire the necessary qualification to get out of that college. The whole beautiful world awaits you outside the college. You have not entered the college to stay there permanently. So your objective is to get out of that college, and that's what your endeavor, all your effort should be directed towards. So Krishna, this is what Krishna advises, that you get out of this material world. Then the question may come, if I have to get out from here, where am I supposed to go? In this material world, this is all what we know. The India, if it is less, is developing, maybe America is developed. So is it like going from India to America? Is it like that, or what is it like? Even America is also part of material world. Even Swargaloka is a part of material world. What to speak of America? So if we have to go from here, Krishna is advising us to get out of this material world. Where should we head for? Where should we go? So Krishna says that he start describing that his abode, where he is calling us, and from where we all belong to that abode, that dham where we lived there once and experience the eternal life, eternal happy life we have experienced there. So Krishna is saying, from in the sixth verse, he introduced that abode to us, saying that natad bhasayate suryo no shashanko na pavakaha yad gatva na nivartante tad dham paramam mama. That dham which is mine is param, is a beautiful, it is transcendental, it is far, far, far superior than what all you have experienced or what all you can think of. So it is not even, it doesn't even require sun for illumination. Earth requires sun for illumination. Without sun, moon, and fire, we cannot survive on this planet. So Krishna gives that as an example. There are so many other better features, but this is what you can relate with most. That planet is a self-illuminous planet. Everything there is spiritual. Everything there is self-illuminous. So sun is there, but it is required. It is not required for illumination and heat and light. Sun is required to play his part in the pastimes. Moon is required when the rasa dance pastime has to happen. Sun has to go. and moon has to come, a full moon has to come, whatever Krishna desires, full moon manifest, and then the rasa dance can happen. So uh, so these things exist in the spiritual world, but they are not needed. They also have their services towards Krishna. So whenever Krishna wants to play with his cowherd boys, take cows out for grazing, sun comes. Sun does not otherwise have to come. And whenever he wants to perform rasa dance, moon comes. So everything gets adjusted according to Krishna's desires. Everyone is trying to serve Krishna. So this is the spiritual world. So Krishna giving us glimpses of that spiritual world, what it is like. And so if that world is so beautiful, if so transcendental, so nice, then why are we all stuck here? Krishna says, y'all have stuck here because of the because of your desire to enjoy material world. And he says, Mamev Ansho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. All the living entities are my Anshas, are sorry, I think I just need to share the screen. Okay, my screen is visible, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I'll just stop sharing and we'll share it once. I'll start with the presentation. So all the living entities are my Anshas, and but when they forget that part and parcel of me, and by in this forgetfulness they are trying to enjoy the material world. And Krishna says they are struggling very hard for survival, and even getting small drops of happiness they are struggling. So manashasthani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. So with the six senses, which includes mind, they are karshati, they are struggling very hard. Where? In the prakritisthani, in this material world. So and what is happening in this material world is everything is temporary. The bodies that we are given is that is also temporary. So but the desire of the souls are unending, are does not just does not stop producing newer and newer desires. The desire to enjoy is, unless that goes away, uh, the stay in the material world will never come to an end, because we will never give up our desires for enjoyment. We want this now, then this, then this, then this. Right now in this small age also we will have plans for next 20 years, and that's how we all want to live here perpetually. We want to enjoy here perpetually. And but Krishna says the way this world is arranged, everything here is temporary. The forms are temporary. The matter is permanent. The Panchamaha Tattva with which my body is made, that is permanent. That is going to stay. But its form, in this formation that it is right now, you can see me, that is not permanent. That can change. That will change eventually by the passage of time. And at some point soul will have to give up this body and acquire a new body. So this is transmigration of process of changing body, moving soul, moving from one body to another body. And Krishna says this is what every soul has to undertake, because of the nature of, because this is the design of this world and no one can escape. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu dhruvo janma mritasya cha. As and when the second chapter's 27th verse, Krishna has explained this already, that anyone who has taken birth, that's a body, whoever's body has been born, that body has to get destroyed. So the death is permanent. And anybody who will die will take birth also again, because they have not finished their business yet in this material world. So that is how the transmigration happens. And then he further gives more information how it exactly happens. That's just like uh, when the wind is blowing and it passes the garden, a beautiful garden where nice fragrant flowers are blooming. Wind catches the fragrance from those flowers and it go on. So anybody living in a place where the wind is blowing from uh, in that direction, from the direction where there is a beautiful garden, the wind that they experience is fragrant wind, the वो सुगंध लेके आती है हवा. एंड अगर गार्बेज हाउस होगा वहां पे तो दुर्गंधी भी लेके आएगी. बट हाउ विंड कैचेस एरोमा, हाउ wind catches the fragrance, similarly a soul catches our nature and move from one body to another body, and while doing that they carry with themselves mind, intelligence and false ego according to the karma, according to the capacity to pay, according to the desire, the taste that every soul has. They get Shotram Chakshus Parshanam Charasanam Granam Evacha Adhisthaya Manashchaya Vishayan Upasevate. They get five type of different type of senses according to their karma and according to their desires. And having got a new body, what do they do? Vishayan Upasevate. They try to enjoy the sense objects once again. They've tried it in the previous body. They were partly successful, but their desires continued. So they continued. Their journey of enjoyment continued from one body to another body. And in when the moment they get into a new body, they start, they acquire these five senses, and using them, they try their effort of enjoying matter again. Krishna says, if you have, but this process is happening continuously all around us. As we speak, somewhere somebody is living, giving up his body. Some souls are new entering into the womb of mother, and those children are coming out. All that is happening. In our WhatsApp status, if you see, somebody would have left his body. There would be some messages informing us about somebody has left the body and somebody has taken birth, and that happens in our world and all around us all the time, and we just don't seems to care for that. Why this is not visible to us? Because we don't have Jnana Chakshu. Jnana Chakshu is means eyes of knowledge. Now Krishna explains that those who have Jnana Chakshu, they can see this very easily. But no matter how hard you try, if you don't have Jnana Chakshu, you will not be able to see this. Now this is where we ended. This section is from the 6th verse to 11th verse. Then in the third in the another in the third section that starts from 12th chapter to 12th verse to 14th verse, 12, 13, 14, the three verses, Krishna explains something more deeper. Say somebody may say that I don't have Jnana Chakshu because I have not studied scriptures. I have not yet got any guidance from anyone, and right now I don't have any desire to learn scriptures also. I may postpone it for my old age, or I may not even consider it necessary. Why to study scriptures? I have to study physics, I have to study accountancy, I have to study business, and I have to earn money so that I can enjoy in the material world. Where is scriptures come from? What is the role of scriptures? Where do they come from? I don't need scriptures to decide whether should I buy Mercedes Benz or a BMW or Audi. I can figure it all out by myself. Why do you need scriptures? So there will be some people who may think like this. So Krishna says, those who have Jnana Chakshu, those who are trying to endeavor to learn from scriptures and develop those eyes with knowledge and see the world in the correct perspective so that they can modify their actions accordingly. Those are devotees, those are people who are endeavoring to come closer to Krishna. But there are majority of people who are not doing any of these things, and they have no idea who Krishna is or who God is for that matter, and they are still trying to live their life using their bodies. They think themselves as body. uh, what happens to those people? Krishna says, even those people who have no faith in me, who does not recognize my role, I'm working to give them facilities for their enjoyment. Without me, even they cannot enjoy what they want to do, whatever the little enjoyments they are trying to extract from by using their senses, by using their resources. Those enjoyment, for them to enjoy, I am required. They cannot ignore me. Without me, they even cannot do those enjoyments also. What to speak of, without Krishna, we cannot learn about scriptures and go back to Krishna. We need Krishna's mercy for that. But even if we desire to enjoy matter, we still need Krishna's mercy. Even if we are atheist, pure atheist, don't care about God, we still need Krishna's mercy for us to be able to enjoy. Krishna has explained these aspects in various way in the seventh chapter, where Krishna has told that various, I am Purusha Nurshu. I am the ability in man, is me, comes from me. I am that ability that even if of anybody who wants, if I want to lift my hand, I can only lift it if Krishna permits. Krishna says this, and then, but a person may not want to hear this. So Krishna says at three level how he is helping everyone without discrimination, whether they are a devotee or they are non-devotee, they are believers, they are non-believers. At three level, Krishna says, I'm helping every living entity. And how he explains that in the 12th, 13th, and 14th verse. In the 12th verse, Krishna explains how he is sun, his splendor of the sun. And the same three objects, the sun, moon, and fire. And Krishna says, the tej in this object comes from me. Now, sun is required. Earth cannot survive without sun. And sun is required for vegetation to grow, using which, eating which, human can survive, animal can survive, most of the animals can survive. So the sun is required, the moon is required, the juice in uh, the food stuff that we experience, we enjoy, actually comes because of moon. And the fire is required. So these things are required. They are common. One may say that, okay, they are common for everyone. It's not that it's only Krishna is giving it to me, it's giving it to everyone. And that's true. So all these three things, but nevertheless, Krishna says that without this, your survival is impossible. So this is coming from Krishna's mercy, and using this mercy, we are surviving in this world, and then we are trying to enjoy in this world. Further, Krishna says how he's helping us at the level of planet. Now this is at the universal level. This universe has one sun, one moon, and the fire exists in this universe, using which we are surviving. But Krishna says further, he comes closer to us, saying that gama gama avishya cha bhutani dharayam aham ojasa. So this, he says something significant. He says, I've entered into the planet, and each planet, and by my energy they stay in orbit. Now we see the solar system. We can imagine that every planet is working so flawlessly, so wonderfully. They all rotate amongst themselves, and then they rotate in orbit around other planets as well. And everything is controlled in an extremely sophisticated way, by sending one satellite in air, and we need a huge control room to control every movement of that satellite, so that on slight error in signaling can in effect can crash that satellite and just get destroyed. But this, for the time immemorial, Krishna is saying that I'm keeping all these planets float in the air, not only float in the air, but also rotate and behave in a particular way. They stay in orbit, they don't just randomly float anywhere. Their distances are fixed, their rotation cycles are determined, and they can be, we can predict those. None of those planets can listen to us, should listen to our orders, but their their movements are so perfect that we can predict those movements today. And that's how Krishna, that's all is possible, because Krishna says is happening because of me. I have entered into those planets, and by my energy I'm keeping them floating. So earth to survive, we need those planets to float properly. Earth cannot be closer to the sun even by few small distance, otherwise it will become very hot. And earth cannot be further away from sun that it can get frozen. So everything has to be perfectly maintained. All the balance has to be perfectly maintained in order for us to fulfill our sense gratification, and that arrangement is provided by Krishna at the level of planet. So Krishna is helping us at the level of universe, he's helping us at the level of planet, and he come much closer to everything else. He says, forget universe and planet, I am helping you maintain your body. I am Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashrita, and Pranapana Samayukta Pachamyam Anna Chaturvidham. The four type of food stuff that you eat, you feel the hunger, you experience hunger. That hunger is nothing but the fire of digestion that exists in our tummy, our stomach, and the devata presiding over that fire is called Vaishwanara. And Krishna says, I am that Vaishwanara, because of whom you experience hunger, because of who is the agent who help you pachamya annam chaturvidham, the four type of food stuff that you are eating. Hopefully you are eating, all of you are eating prasad, but whatever the the four type of food stuff are the one that can be chewed, that can be licked, that can be drank, and that can be uh, चूसने वाला चूसा जाने वाला, that kind of a food stuff. So these four kind of food stuff that we consume gets digested because of this Vaishwana. And Krishna says, if I were not to help you, you cannot even digest your food. So my presence and my assistance is required by you at every stage, for your basic survival to your all kind of enjoyments that you wish to have. So don't ignore me. Now, while saying this, uh, the further Krishna says that this is though for those who don't want to come to Krishna. Krishna says, for them also I'm doing so much. So what to speak for those who have desire to come to Krishna, who want to become Krishna conscious, who want to come closer to Krishna, who want to love and serve Krishna. Now Krishna says, for those people, sarvasya cha aham radhisannivishto matah smrtir jnanam apohanam cha vedescha sarvair aham eva vidyo Vedanta Krut Vedavid Videva Chaham. So this is the last verse that we discussed in our previous session. So this verse we will elaborate a little bit further, because this verse is so beautiful and so many aspects exist in this verse that we can discuss, that can be discussed. So let's relook at this particular verse, and then we will move forward. So Krishna says, I am seated in everyone's heart, Hrudi Sannivishto, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. This is first part. So Krishna says, I am within your heart, I am within the heart of every living entity, and from me, what am I doing? I'm guiding you, I'm guiding from within your heart. I'm giving you knowledge, and I'm giving you intelligence, I'm giving you knowledge, I'm giving you remembrance, and I'm also giving you forgetfulness. We will discuss this aspect a little bit more today in detail. The Vedescha Sarver Ahameva Vidyo. Why? Where does Vedas come from? Now you need internally guidance. Krishna can guide us from within our body, within our heart. He can guide us, and externally in the world also. Krishna says, I'm available as Guru Sadhu Shastra. The Shastra, the scriptures which are made available, the four Vedas which are made available. Krishna says, I am the compiler of those Vedas. I am to be known by the study of those Vedas. I am the compiler of those Vedas as Vyasdev, and I am the knower of those Vedas as well. I'm the goal of the Veda is to find me. I have compiled those Vedas and I know those Vedas. I understand them. It's not just I have written something and I have forgotten. I know them also. So these three things Krishna speaks, and we will see what their relevance is. The purport we discussed earlier, beautiful verse that Madruka Prapanna Pashupasha Vimokshanaya Muktaya Bhurikarunaya Namolalaya. Now this verse we used to tell us to highlight how Lord is merciful. Such an the Gajendra was in animal's body, and the moment he surrendered into Krishna, Krishna comes on a Garuda, on his Garuda Vahan immediately to help him. The moment he surrenders, Krishna arrives. The Lord Hari arrives, sitting on the back of Garuda, immediately relieves Gajendra from the pain. But Gajendra offers beautiful prayer, saying that since an animal such as me has surrendered unto you, who are you? या आप कौन हो? मैं आपको क्यों सरेंडर कर रहा हूँ? कृष्ण Gajendra is saying that you are a mukta, you are supremely liberated. Now imagine we all have, as tiny souls, have some independence. We can choose to join Bhagavad Gita class on Sunday morning 11 a.m. or watch latest movie, or worst watch some cricket. So we can't decide what is worse than each other, but or go for shopping, or entertain our guests, or do anything else other than here listen to Bhagavad Gita. But we choose to listen to Bhagavad Gita. 41 people who are here, they want to understand Bhagavad Gita. They are trying to understand Bhagavad Gita. So this is independence that we have, using which we can either choose Krishna or we can reject Krishna. We can go away Krishna. Now imagine what kind of independence Krishna might be having. So Krishna, so Gajendra is saying you're extremely, uh, you're supremely liberated, you're supremely independent, and for what more, Bhuri Karunaya, you're supremely, you're extremely merciful. And more than that, Namo Lalaya. So you incessantly try to deliver me, incessantly, without getting tired. You are again and again trying to deliver me. Come and help me, come and give me knowledge, come and give me opportunity for coming back to you. Though I have rejected in past, you don't get tired of trying to deliver me. So as if Gajendra is saying, Krishna, you are more interested in my deliverance than me myself. My deliverance is what is best for me. I can't understand that. In my current body, I'm an animal. I just want to enjoy with my body, and I've forgotten you. And but you don't forget me. You are not forgotten me. You continuously, incessantly, you're trying. You're without getting tirelessly. You're making an effort to give me opportunity to pick up Bhagavad Gita, to read Bhagavad Gita, and to come back to Krishna. Develop a desire to come back to Krishna. So Bhuri Karunaya, Namo Lalaya, Muktaya. Now, these are all uh, beautiful way in which Gajendra is glorifying Krishna. And we should understand that Bhuri Karunaya aspect, because he's almost every day we get a SMS or a message from some devotee asking us to do something in connection with Krishna consciousness. Is Krishna's Bhuri Karunaya nature, is Krishna's Namo Lalaya nature, because that is getting manifested through those WhatsApp messages which we receive from devotees. It's not that devotees are trying, it's Krishna trying. Krishna is trying. Read Bhagavad Gita, post your update. Krishna is trying. Get up early morning and attend japa, do japa with devotees, so that when 2-3 days you will not show up, some devotees will call you, why are you not coming? If you choose to do it all alone, Haribol, you only know what you are doing. And so so this is Krishna's mercy manifesting on us. It's available to us today everywhere. It just we need to take up this responsibility, make ourselves accountable to Krishna and the devotees whom we are dealing with, so that we not only uh, we are accountable in our material life. We are accountable to our company where we work. We are supposed to go there on a particular time, perform certain duties that are given to us, and in behave in a particular way in that while we are in the company premises, and even at times outside company premises also. So we are accountable for our actions. We are accountable to our family, our colleagues, our friends, our relatives, our country, our society. Everywhere at a bodily level we have accountability, and we try and fulfill that to the best of our ability, or else we get penalized. But at a spiritual level also we have accountability. Now, this accountability is to Krishna and to devotees through whom the Krishna's Namo Lalaya nature is manifested. His Bhuri Karunaya nature is manifested. He is free. He doesn't need us, but he know this is in best interest of us, and hence he's trying. We'll have a quick discussion that he says, I am to be known. In the translation to the verse, Prabhupada writes that Vedeshcha sarver aham eva vedyo. I am to be known. It's like why Krishna says that I am to be known. Why it is not implied that Krishna is known by studying Veda. Now Vedas are, we have know the 4 Vedas, but by studying Vedas, why it is why Prabhupada has to, Krishna has to say that I am to be known by the study of Veda. You can raise hand if you want to share any thoughts. Why is this statement like this? Why is not that I am known by Vedas? It's like it's why there is an indirect reference that I am to be known. Sudhi Prabhuji, yes, you can say. You can
Hi,
unmute
Hare
yourself.
Krishna
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, what I understand here from this is that, see, through transmigration, the soul moves from one body to another. And when it gets into the new body, he forgets everything about the past, as well as he does not have any understanding about Krishna. So that is why it needs to be studied to know who is Krishna, what are his powers, and he is the Supreme
Which
Lord. That
is
is why
no, which
this
is
knowledge
fine.
needs to be.
Even now, assume we are in this body and we study Vedas, some bodies of Vedas. Now, Krishna says, Krishna is saying that I am to be known, not that I am automatically known by the study of Vedas. As if Krishna is saying that I am not automatically known by study of Vedas. I am to be known.
Okay, Prabhu.
I'm just saying, why is that reference? Why not? Why it's not implied that by studying Vedas, Krishna is known?
Okay. So the point here is that what I understand is that we need to know Krishna. Krishna needs to be known as the supreme authority of Godhead, and then we do not get busy with other demigods and keep worshipping other demigods, knowing clearly now that Krishna is the supreme authority of Godhead. Only liberation is possible through worshipping Krishna.
Okay. So brought in one important point that other demigod worship, we shouldn't, get caught up in that. And then, yeah, Chandramohan Prabhu, Murli Prabhu, you raised hand, and I don't know. Yes, Chandramohan Prabhu. And then Ila Badoni Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
When I read this line, I am to be known, it is always known with the help of his loved devotees. Because you may or may not understand the actual context of what he's speaking. And your lifetimes will go on in interpreting each one of those sentences and statements. So in the presence of the devotees, people who are 100% surrendered, you will get to know him easily, and you will get the mercy of Krishna also very easily. That is my understanding, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Yes, Ila.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
I think the Lord is talking about not just by Gyan, but by Bhakti, we can know him. And so understanding him is not the goal, but knowing him through Bhakti is the goal.
Knowing him through Bhakti is the goal. Okay. Thank you so
Hare Krishna.
much. Hare Krishna, Vinod Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, regarding this, Krishna say, I to be known by study of Vedas. So it means that just knowing has to be through process, and process of following the life as per the guidelines of Vedas, and following the instructions given in the Vedas. So if we follow those instructions, follow the path then Krishna is automatically known through that process. So it is not like something you can just go and buy and just achieve at a moment. So you have to follow the process of Vedic life given in the Vedas, then automatically Krishna will be known.
Okay. Thank you so much, Vinod Prabhu. Kumara Prabhu and then Vikas Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Kumara here.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, what I understood is why I am to be known. Krishna says he is the creator, he is the survivor, he is the sustainer, he is the presentator, and everything is only one. And all Maya and Yogamaya, all his powers. So we must know that only we remember Lord Krishna all the time.
Okay. So Yogamaya is available. So I didn't clearly get the point.
That Maya is also the energy of God, is the Lord Krishna. From that Yogamaya, that to sustain, that also come from the knowledge also come from.
Okay, knowledge also come from Yogamaya. So Maya, Yogamaya interplay can bewilder us, and we may not get clear understanding. So we need, His mercy.
Sir, can I say?
Who is speaking? You can just raise hand, and we can come to you.
Sir, actually, where is the setting called raise the hand? I could not find it, sir. I'm
Okay,
new
okay,
to
yeah.
the class.
Sure. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir, my name is Jahnavi Sanidhi.
Yes, Janvi. Yes.
According to my knowledge and my understanding, I can say that, sir, while reading the Vedas, while learning the Vedas, we are emotionally get connect to the Krishna. So we'll connect to the Krishna personally. So I think in that context, Krishna may say.
Krishna may say, okay, I am to be known. So we need to get connected with Krishna. If we don't, then we will not be able to know him properly. Is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you so much. Yes, Vikas Roji and then Sapnil Roji.
Hare
Sir,
Krishna
this is my
Prabhuji,
first
Dandvat
class.
Pranam.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
So, as it is given, Prabhuji, that Krishna is saying that I am to be known. So, it is basically the knowledge Krishna is providing, that we should get a shortcut to to Krishna directly, because if we go to Vedas to read and find out that there are so many discussions about Krishna as Paramatma figure, and the Vedanta Sutra also describes that there are elaborately description of Krishna sometime, but other times it is also there that they are talking about the karma kands or something other things, means how to live life as per the Vedic rituals, that is also there elaborately. So if we try to go through the Vedas and try to achieve Krishna, or try to achieve the knowledge of Krishna, then it is a very lengthy kind of path. But ultimately, as Vedanta Sutra comes to the conclusion that it is Krishna who is ultimately the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But to coming to that understanding, we need a kind of spiritual master, a great, good, long lifetime through which we can understand that Krishna is the ultimately the crux of the Vedas. And even in Bhagavad Gita also, somewhere Krishna says that I am the Sham Chand in the Sham Ved. So he gives a reference sometime of Vedas knowledge also. But if we come to the conclusion of the Vedanta Sutras, that clearly explains. And here Krishna, since is giving directly reference that I am to be known. And if we see it in conjunction with the Vedanta Sutra knowledge, so it is ultimately given that ultimately by the study of Vedas also, Krishna is to be known. So there is taking that point further is then when Krishna is saying directly in Srimad Bhagavad Gita in this particular chapter that everything is coming from me, even the remembrance, your pastimes, forgetfulness, everything, when it is coming to me, and it is always better to learn from me that I am only to be known from the Vedas. And since Vedanta Sutra also says that truly.
Okay.
So
So
that is what I could collect.
yeah, important point of Karmakand, which is being mentioned in Vedas. Thank you so much for that. Sapnil Prabhuji and Vinit Prabhu and then Nupur Mataji.
Hare
Last
Krishna.
is Nupur Mataji. We'll go back to the discussion after Nupur Mataji. Sorry.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, I am not referring to Vedas, but my observation, my saying is Krishna lives in every heart, and
Sapnil
he
Prabhu, there
is
is echo. I think there are two instruments using which I think we are connecting. Maybe
okay.
because of
Okay.
which there is an echo.
Yeah, Prabhuji, can you hear me now, Prabhuji?
Yes.
Yeah. Prabhuji, what I feel is that Krishna lives in entire entity. I mean, Krishna doesn't live in Vedas or something. Vedas are created by Krishna, we all know. Krishna lives everywhere in our heart. So knowing Krishna, that he is Sarva Vyapi, he is everywhere. And this is where Krishna says, once you understand that I am everywhere, that known has to be there, that factor has to be there, that I am Sarva Vyapi, I am everywhere, I am the creator, I am the destroyer. So if that knowledge is gained by any of the devotee, then it's not that we can only know Krishna through Vedas. So this is my observation. I mean, this is my understanding.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Vinit Prabhuji and Nupur Mataji.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna.
प्रभु जी, जैसा मुझे समझ में आया कि भगवान बोल रहे हैं कि इवन जो ये वेद पढ़ने का उद्देश्य है वो कृष्णा को जानने का, कृष्णा को समझने का है, जहां तक मैं समझ पाया।
Correct. Okay. Thank you so much, Vinit Prabhuji. Nupur
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna Prabhuji, Tanvat Pranam.
Hare
So
Krishna.
Prabhuji, my understanding of this verse is that there are many sections in the Vedas which are meant for different kind of people according to their psychophysical natures and understanding. For karmis, for jnanis, for hati yogis, and then bhakti, who are the bhaktas who are interested in bhakti yoga. So it is a gradual progression from a karmi to bhakti yogi. So there are different sections in the Vedas which are meant for different people, and also there are some few sections which are not really connected with spirituality at all. So it is like art and then economics. So we have to search Krishna through the Vedas.
Absolutely correct. Very nice. Thank you so much. So Vedas predominantly were written for whom? So if we, in today's times, Marvel characters are famous. Marvel movie are famous. So when Marvel movies are famous, everyone is searching for Marvel comics. Everyone is searching for a book related to some Marvel character. So if one opens a bookshop, what is it that they will display predominantly? What will be in most demand? Because if Marvel comics or Marvel things are in demand, if they are popular, the Marvel books will be in demand, isn't it? So it's not that the library will not have a copy of Bhagavad Gita, but then what will be displayed prominently is what people want most. So when we all landed in this material world, the 4 Vedas were given to us to guide our behavior as we operate, provide us with the sacrifices that we need to perform so that we don't try and live a sinful life, and try and enjoy to the best of our ability, and try to perceive, attain liberation, also attempt liberation also. But while all this facility was given to us, the Vedas predominantly deal with the Karma Kanda section. The entire Vedas are for Karma Kanda. And then, as Nupur Mataji and earlier Vikas Prabhuji also brought in the point, and Sudeep Prabhuji also, I think, brought in the point of demigod worship. Now, do this get that? Now, this is not Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is pure devotional service. So while people are busy, they call themselves spiritual, they call themselves devotional, भगवान को मानते हैं, हम कुछ करते हैं, ये करते हैं, वो करते हैं, all their actions are motivated actions, and none of those come anyway close to the pure devotional service that Krishna expect. So Krishna is available, but Krishna, one has to search for Krishna. What is prominently available is how you can get superior sense enjoyment, by which sacrifice you can improve your quality of eating, mating, sleeping, defending. So Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. In the beginning of second chapter itself, Arjuna was advised to transcend all the Vedas, because Vedas predominantly deal with the subject matter of sense enjoyment, sense gratification, which is within the domain of three gunas. All the actions performed, even if it is in sattva guna, rajoguna, or tamoguna, everything is binding to for the soul, or binding for the living entity. So whichever action you take in the under the guidance of Vedas, they are not transcendental actions. They could be devotional actions. They could be a worship of a particular demigod, and there are various kind of worships are advised in various Vedas. If you want to get married, worship so and so. If you want prosperity in business, worship so and so, and so and so, so and so. Lots of information is given. While doing a lot of these actions, one may actually feel that they are devotees, or they are some kind of a devotional attitude, but all their actions are misdirected, because none of those actions are liberating actions. So thank you so much for that spot on answer, and we'll move back to the presentation. So Krishna has to be searched. So it's not that in the library or in the bookstore, Krishna book is not available, Bhagavad Gita is not available, Bhagavatam is not available. But what is displayed predominantly, what is been put on display is not Bhagavad Gita, because nobody is coming asking for it. Out of Manushyanam Sahasreshu, out of thousands of men, one person come and ask for a Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita will be kept, but it will be kept somewhere in the behind, somewhere in the small storage area, because after thousands and thousands of sale, I may sell one Bhagavad Gita. And then so this is the nature, this is the situation, this is the condition of this material world. So Krishna has to be searched. And as Vikas also said that even if you have fortune for studying all the four Vedas and come to the conclusion and get proper guidance, then again you will come to the same conclusion that Krishna has to be worshipped. So why not go there directly? That's what the shortcut is given by Krishna himself when he says that Traigunya Vishaya Veda Naistraigunya Bhavarjuna. So this is a important point. Krishna in heart. Now this is a concept Krishna has spoken on a couple of occasions as well. So in the 13th verse, 23rd verse, 13th chapter, 23rd verse, Krishna says that Upadrashta Anumantacha Bharta Bhokta Maheshwara Paramatmeti Chapyukto Dehesmin Purusha Parabde. That this I so apart from the in this section, Krishna is explaining that apart from the soul, apart from the Atma, there is a Paramatma which is there in your inside your deha, and who is witnessing all actions which are being done by the soul. Soul, whatever soul is thinking, willing, and feeling, and desiring, everything is known to the super soul, who is right next to the soul, available everywhere. Wherever, whichever body soul moves to, super soul follows him there. And that's how the detailed accounts are maintained of the activities of the soul. What does this super soul do? He's overseer. He doesn't intervene. He doesn't take away the freedom of the soul to desire nasty things, to desire sinful things, to go and murder somebody, cut somebody into 35 pieces. Now that desire is not abstracted, but it is permitted, provided one has the currency of karma. If you have money, they will allow you to purchase poison also. It's up to you what you do with that poison. You feed it to rats, or you drink it yourself, or whatever you do. They're not responsible. They will, if you have money, they will let you purchase knife. now what you do with that knife is up to you. You cut fruits and offer it to Krishna. That can be one use of knife, or you use it for, murdering somebody. So it's completely up to you. That's our use and misuse of free will that we all possess. And so Krishna does, what does Krishna do? Upadrashta and Anumanta, overseer and permitter. Now this is what he do while he's in our even inside our body as a Paramatma. Current verse 15.15, Sarvasya Chaha Rudhi Sannivishto. That's where also he says that I'm seated in the region of heart. And 18.61, another beautiful verse where Krishna says, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Ruddeshe Arjuna Tishtati. The Ishvara, God of all the living entities. Where am I? I'm sitting in the situated in the region of heart, O Arjuna. And what do I do? Brahmayan Sarva Bhutani Yantra Rudhani Maya. All these living entities are moving from one body to another, one species to another, and their journey is directed by me. And how do they take this journey? Yantra Rudhani Maya. Yantra, our body is is compared to a yantra. And Yantra Rudhani made up of what? Maya, 5 elements of material nature. So which we think that this body will remain permanent, but this is temporary. This is an illusion that this body is going to be permanent. The people, our family members are going to be permanent. That's the illusion that we have. That's why it is called Maya. That this is Maya. We think this body is going to be permanent. The people around us are going to be permanent. Our possessions are permanent. And this is the Maya part of it. So Krishna is guiding our journey from one body to another, one species to another. And he is again confirmed that he's in the region of heart. So from now, let's talk about the first line, Sarvasya Chaham Ruddhi Sannivishto and Matasmrutir Jnanam Apohanam Cha. Let's deliberate on this point a little bit deeper, because this is a very important point. So from inside, Krishna is our Chaitya Guru, or Guru of our Chetana. He teaches the soul to bark. He teaches baby to suck breast and consume milk. Baby doesn't know. When it's given breast of a mother, he immediately know what to do with it, and he starts sucking and drinking milk. And when you enter into dog's body, you know when you're hungry, you have to bark and you have to wag your tail to get something. If you have something desirable, you wag your tail and try and get that object, or you go and try and grab that object and run away. But this teaching is given by Krishna from our heart. A soul doesn't know how to bark, whether to bark. If from his come from human body to dog's body, he will have no idea of how to bark. How does bark, but how does a dog behave in every condition? So Krishna will guide him from within. That's what Krishna says in the first part. So outside, Krishna appears as Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, and guide our behavior from the material to spiritual consciousness. So he is we are supposed to use this information coming from Guru and Sadhu, and with the help of Shastra, study of Shastra, we are supposed to transform ourselves from material consciousness to spiritual consciousness. Now this transformation journey all of us need to undertake. That's the objective with which this is created. So having got the right knowledge, using it, it is soul's responsibility to focus on cultivating right desires. So desires are cultivated, and they should be right desires should be cultivated, or else we end up misusing our free will and misusing our knowledge. So knowledge should increase our desire to love and serve Krishna, else it is shrama evahi kevalam. Whatever we have efforts we have put in putting in learning subject matters, that is shrama evahi kevalam. So what is knowledge? Any knowledge, anything that is known as knowledge, if it is helping us increase our love, attraction towards Krishna, our love for Krishna, our desire to serve Krishna, everything else is not knowledge from liberation point of view. So Krishna speak about 3 aspects: the knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. And then we say later we say that Guru Sadhu Shastra is on the outside. He guide us through this. So what are we supposed to do? Having got my knowledge from Guru Sadhu Shastra, um, we are responsible to cultivate right desires to love and serve Krishna. Right desire is to develop our attraction towards Krishna, and we should have a desire to love and serve Krishna. Now, this is one branch. From the knowledge, having got knowledge, we are expected to develop this desire to love and serve Krishna. Sometimes we will be successful, sometimes we will not be successful, and each of those will have separate flow. Now, if we are able to develop a desire to love and serve Krishna, whatever knowledge we hear from Bhagavad Gita, from Guru, from sadhus, their association, whatever we learn, using which we are able to develop this attraction for Krishna, and we develop this desire to love and serve Krishna. Then how Krishna help? Krishna, by seeing us having developed this desire, Krishna help by providing remembrance of instructions by Guru Sadhu Shastra. Now this we will learn once, and then we will operate in the world. We will go out in the world. We will not be with devotees all the time. So when we are operating, when we are functional in the world, we need remembrance of instructions by Guru and Sadhu and Shastra. What Shastra is instructing us, because we will not be carrying copy of Bhagavad Gita to our office, to our college, or to our while cooking. We will not be able to while performing our duties from grahastha or varnashram duties. We will not always be carrying copies of Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, and for every now and then we'll open it and see what we need to do. But these instructions, once we are given, we need remembrance of those, constant remembrance of those instructions, right instructions at right time. When we are facing temptations, we in the life, as we'll operate in the world around us, uh, there will be situations where we will be tempted. We will be tempted by sense objects. We will be tempted by, we'll have a temptation to eat something which might have had, before coming to Krishna consciousness, we might have enjoyed meat eating, and or eating food in general without of which is not offerable to Krishna. In post coming to Krishna consciousness, also we will face situations where we will be offered this kind of food, and then we should have proper remembrance of Krishna, sufficient enough for us to say no. Now, it's not that that food was not enjoyable before we come to Krishna consciousness. We might have had enjoyed those food items as well, but if we have very strong remembrance of how we relish that food, how we relish those drinks, then these instructions can be difficult to work upon. So we need some forgetfulness of those relishments also, those enjoyments also. So Krishna, when he says that he gives knowledge and then he gives remembrance and forgetfulness, this is how we operate. That when a devotee is a sincere devotee, Krishna is giving him more remembrance of instructions of Guru Sadhu Shastra, and he giving him more of forgetfulness of sense pleasures which he might have had in the past, so that he can focus on cultivating Krishna consciousness. He does not slip away or move off track. They say that the planes are off track most of the time. It's pilot skills that they bring it on track, and that's how they reach destination. Because of the wind direction, because of various other reasons, air pressure and so other reasons, the plane never travels in the same one direction, but it generally go in one direction, but it is generally off track, and the pilot keep bringing it on track so that it reaches the destination. So this is how Krishna will help us. Whenever there are slippery path, and there is a possibility of we slipping from the path, or there is a distraction that we may succumb to, Krishna providing us with instructions, remembrance of those instructions by Guru Sadhu Shastra, and he's giving us forgetfulness of sense pleasures that we might otherwise think exist. And there will be some pleasure that exist. We might have enjoyed it in past also, and we need forgetfulness of that so that we can focus on Krishna. Suppose we come to the second category of people though having got all the knowledge, we are unable to develop any desire to love and serve Krishna. Now, what is our how Krishna help us? Now, if we don't have desire to love and serve Krishna, we have what other type of desires we will have? We will have desires to enjoy the matter, enjoy in the material world with the help of our senses to the best of our capacity. So when we will have material desires of enjoyment, of possession, then Krishna, now having expressed such a desire, now Krishna responds. Krishna is going to respond to us. Krishna, in the first case, Krishna respond favorably to us. In this case also, Krishna is responding favorably for such a desirer. If I want to desire eating meat and drinking alcohol, then even though I have heard Bhagavad Gita instructions, I need some forgetfulness of those instructions to be able to enjoy meat eating and alcohol, or to get into some other sinful activity, involved in other sinful degrading activity. I need forgetfulness of instructions of Bhagavad Gita. If I keep remembering them, if I'll have very strong remembrance of those instructions, then I will fail to enjoy. I'll fail to enjoy even my drink. And then I'll the same drink which I had relished few years back when I was not in Krishna consciousness will be distasteful for me. Now that's not what my desire is. My desire is to enjoy that drink, enjoy that dish, which cannot be, which is unofferable to Krishna. So Krishna help such a soul by giving forgetfulness of instructions of Guru Sadhu Shastra. And then what else he will give? He will give them remembrance of how you relish those enjoyments in past. So you relish it now also. Now this is Krishna's response to our desire. So our desire is the key. Krishna is going to respond. So when we face temptations, this is 2.62 and 63 verse flowchart. I see things in flowchart terms only, unfortunately. So I couldn't create better visuals for you guys, but so this is the flowchart. What happens when you contemplate on the sense object, when you develop a desire for some sense enjoyment, which is and when you develop such a desire, when you contemplate on the sense object, when you fantasize enjoyment, using something, eating something, touching something, enjoying something, then and you're allowing that desire to enter and you retain it, it's like entertainment, entertaining desire, you allow it to enter, you are allowing entry, and you allow it to be retained. You work on that desire. हाँ ऐसा था, yes I remember, ये किया था हमने, बहुत मजा आया था, यहाँ गए थे बहुत मजा आया था, ये खाया था वो भी बहुत अच्छा था, ये पिया था वो भी अच्छा था. And this is how you start contemplating that उस टाइम पे भी मजा आया था, मुझे अभी भी मजा आएगा. If I indulge into this same thing again, it will be equally relishable. So our desires are responsible. When we have wrong desires and we get temptations, will keep coming in front of us from every now and then, because this is arena of Maya. This is not spiritual world. We live in area of Maya, and Maya will keep testing us by throwing different sense object towards us to see, to test if we have developed sufficient desire to love and serve Krishna sincerely. If not, we will fall down. We will move away from our path. We will go off track. We will try to grab that object of sense object and try and extract some happiness out of it. We will not have sufficient faith that Krishna will give me what I need. All the happiness is available by simply loving and serving Krishna. That faith, if might not be very firm with me. In that case, I may get succumbed to the temptation whenever some tempting object comes in front of me. And how does it happen? We contemplate on the sense object, we develop attachment. Dhyayato vishan punsaha sangaste shupajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha. Kamaha, that's lust. We develop lust, urge to enjoy. Not only enjoy now, it's very urgently, right now, right here, I want that enjoyment. So that's lust. That's becomes a lusty nature that get manifested. So from attachment to lust, that journey can happen in split seconds. And then unsatisfied, if lust is not satisfied immediately, it gives rise to anger. And then abominable thing can happen. Some horrible thing can happen from us. We can do something very, very horrible, which we may regret later. We may speak something horrible in that fate of anger. Anger cause illusion, and in this illusion we do all these kind of things. And this illusion, one forgets the instructions of Guru Sadhu Shastra. Sammohat smriti vibhramaha. Smriti is a smriti shastra, and that so we forget everything and then fall down. Smriti bhramshat buddhi nasho, buddhi nasha pranashati. Buddhi ka bhi nash hone ke baad we fall into that deep down, deep dark well of material existence. We go back there. हम थोड़ा सा जो कुछ प्रोग्रेस किया हुआ होता है वो सब छोड़ के we go back to our old ways of doing things, and from there again we need devotees mercy, Krishna's mercy, to again come back. So this is, everything starts with a desire. A wrong desire can lead us, is a gateway to hell, is a highway to hell. And when we contemplate on the wrong desire, we are pressing accelerator fully, and then we end up reaching hell sooner than what we ever wanted. So if we allow wrong desire to get a foothold, later they take stronghold, and then they kidnap practically our mind and intelligence, and then drag soul on the path, along the path where that it never wanted to travel. So then what is our responsibility? We have to be responsible with our desire. Desires come from association. Therefore, sadhu sanga, sadhu sanga, sadhu sanga, sarva shastra kahe, lava matra sadhu sanga, sarva siddhi hoye. So how we can protect ourselves? We can protect ourselves by taking strong devotee association, by strictly, very, very sincerely performing devotional services whenever we get opportunity, whenever we are in association of devotees, whenever we get chance to perform any of the devotional activity, whenever we get a chance to hear to Krishna Katha, to hear from scriptures, from devotees, we should do it with utmost sincerity. Whenever we get a chance to chant in association of devotees, we should try and chant with utmost intensity. Whenever we get a chance to sing in kirtan, we happen to go on a yatra where we sing and dance in kirtan, we should do it with all our sincerity. Whenever we get chance to honor prasad, we should do it with all the reverence that this is Krishna's mercy that I'm having this food. Otherwise, we are not entitled, we are not qualified to get remnants from Krishna's food. So we should do it with all the reverence, all awe and reverence of this mercy that we are expecting. We are accepting from Krishna. We should not expect. We are not deserving, but still we are getting. So we should be so in the mood of gratitude, humility. We should accept prasad, serve devotees and Krishna whenever and wherever we get opportunity, in whichever way, form, and means. We should serve with all sincerity and take advantage whenever we get advantage, or whenever we get opportunity to engage into the devotional service. And if we do it with all our sincerity, all our effort, all our endeavor we put in that, doing that, we are then telling Krishna that we really want to be engaged in his loving service. Now, in our current condition, we are not purified enough. So there will be situations when we will go off track. But then Krishna will know that, we have a strong desire to love and serve him. So he will create opportunities to give us remembrance of how great he is, how sweet he is, how much enjoyable the whole Krishna consciousness process is, how much and how these enjoyments, this happiness, this bliss is far better in taste and far greater in quantity than what material, tiny drops of material happiness that you might expect to get in this world by enjoying matter, by enjoying other body. So Krishna will then give stronger remembrance of himself, and through devotees he will keep bringing us on track whenever we go off track, because those situations will come in everyone's life, and it's important. That's why the sadhu sangha is important, because the devotees, Krishna will act through the devotees. Krishna may not come in our dream, and how he came in dream of Srila Prabhupada and said that, do not worry, I will take care of you. Nothing will happen in the ship. when he had second heart attack, Krishna came in his dream and assured all everything will be all right. And then Prabhupada woke up and then reached Boston and established ISKCON. The rest is history. We have we have ISKCON now all over the world that Prabhupada could establish with this simple assurance that given by Krishna. So this is what we should always remember, that with all sincerity, there will be instances we going off track, or we may get tempted by world around us, and we may fall for those temptations as well at times. But it will be if we whenever at the moment when at the time of performing sadhana, if we are sincere, if we will be at most dedicated, at most sincere, our heart should be sincere in our heart at least, then Krishna will know that Krishna is he's there in our heart, and he understand our emotions, our feelings, even though externally we might get dragged in wrong directions, we may do wrong things as well at times. Krishna will know that in our heart we want to come back to him, we want to we have a strong desire to love and serve Krishna. And seeing that, he will keep guiding our actions, he will keep providing us with more opportunities. So 16th verse is called Tri Shloki, 16, 17, 18. This is called Tri Shloki Gita. Now, as if Arjuna, when Arjuna, Krishna is asking, Arjuna is asking Krishna that you say that you are the knower of all the Vedas. Then can you give me in summary what these Vedas talk about? And Krishna, from in these 3 verses, Krishna is going to explain what Vedas ultimately teaches. Now, Vedas talk about hundreds and thousands of things, and if you try to follow each and every instructions, they at times will be contradictory to each other as well, and we will never be able to study complete Vedas. They are not available, and even if we find whatever we have, we try and study, we will never be successful. We will just get dragged away in 100 directions. Bahushakha hi anantascha buddhayo vyavasayanam. So vyavasay, so that we will be able to achieve nothing, and we will never be able to come to the conclusion that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so Krishna is providing that conclusion in these 3 verses. So Krishna is saying that there are 2 classes of being, the fallible and infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. So we can understand that fallible means conditioned soul. So in the material world, everyone who has taken birth in the material world is conditioned soul, and anyone who has attained liberation and is living in the spiritual world, that's they are ultimately they are infallible. They have attained, they have perfected their life, they have gone back to Krishna and living in the spiritual world above the material world. So they are infallible. But Krishna says these 2 classes of being exist. So these 3 verses, Krishna will refute Mayavad completely, demolish that Mayavad philosophy, that of oneness. Now, here Krishna is clearly saying that even in spiritual world, those souls continue to exist. They have their individual identities, and in the material world, of course, everybody exists. All the living entities exist, and they have their own respective identity. From Brahma to an ant, Prabhupada says that they are all separate living entities, and Krishna exists. Krishna says that all fallible, they are conditioned, and those in the spiritual world are liberated. But these 2 things, two type of entities always continue to exist. Natvevaham jatunasam natvam neme janadhipaha na chaivam na bhavishyamaha sarve vayamata param. So 12th verse of 2nd chapter, Krishna says this, and he's just reiterating this, that never was there a time that you didn't exist, I didn't exist, and all these janadhipaha or all these kings never existed, were not existing, and never in future will there be a time when all of us will cease to exist. So all of us will be there, all of us will have our own individual identity. Even in the spiritual world, we will not merge into anything. We will be separate. We will have our own separate relationship with Krishna. We will have our own reciprocation with Krishna, and Krishna will also not merge with us or anything like that. So we will continue to coexist with Krishna and with all other living entities. Prabhupada explains in the purport that it's already explained that Vyasdeva, in his incarnation as Vyasdev, Lord is giving summary content of Vedanta Sutra. So the living entities are eternally separated parts and parcel of Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when they are in contact with material world, they are called kshara or conditioned. And those but those who are in oneness with the Supreme Personality of Godhead are called akshara or infallible. Now, Prabhupada explains this concept of oneness, what it means. Now, oneness does not mean that they have no individuality, but that there is no disunity. So when India-Pakistan match is happening, the whole of country is desiring India to win. Now, this is oneness. Now, India, the whole nation wants India to win against, say, Pakistan. Does not means there's no disunity of purpose. Disunity of purpose. Now, everybody, 130 crore, 140 crore Indians wants India to win. So this is oneness. Now, this is not oneness doesn't mean all 130 crore people have become one. They all exist, individuality exists. However, in purpose, they are one. They are agreeable, they are all agreeable to the purpose of the creation. Purpose of the creation is it's explained in the 3rd chapter, 11th verse, that to live happily and liberate. Live happily and liberate. The very clearly Prabhupada has given the translation in that verse, that live happily. And happiness is also a matter of choice, because our conditions are predetermined by our past karma. So we are not, for becoming happy, it should not be a conditional thing that if I get a 3 BHK in Mumbai, I will be happy. Then I can try and strive for liberation. No, wherever you are, in whichever place you are, whichever condition you are, this is your responsibility to be happy, because you've got that condition from your previous birth's activity, not as a matter of chance. So you be happy in whichever condition, horrible condition you are, or a better situation you are, or a very opulent condition you could be in. Whichever condition you are, that's the result of your past karma. Now be happy in that and try for liberation, strive for liberation. So this is the purpose of the creation. The living entities who are struggling in this world with the mind and 5 senses have their material bodies, which are changing. As long as a living entity is conditioned, his body changes due to the contact with the matter. Matter is changing, so the living entity also appears to be changing. But in the spiritual world, the body is not made up of matter, therefore there is no change. So Prabhupada constantly give comparison of material world and spiritual world, and what we experience in material world, what we are about to experience in the material spiritual world. When we go there, then again back to material world. In the material world, living entity undergoes 6 changes: birth, growth, duration, reproduction, and dwindling and vanishing. These changes are to the material body. But in the spiritual world, the body does not change. There is no old age, no birth, no death. So they all exist in oneness. Oneness, again, it's not that all bodies become one body, but their individuality are maintained. Krishna sarvani bhutani Ksharaha sarvani bhutani. Any living entity who has come in contact with matter, beginning from the first created being Brahma down to a small ant, is changing body. Therefore, they are all fallible. 8th chapter, 16th verse, Krishna explains this very beautifully when he says that Abrahma bhuvanar lokar punaravartino arjuna mamupetyatu konteya punarjanmana vidyate. That if you attain me, O Arjuna, then punarjanma does not happen. Otherwise, even if right from the stage of Brahma to a small ant, or even a small, whatever the smaller object that you can think of, everyone in the material world will undergo this change of body. they have death, which means there is a death is unavoidable in the material world. Even Brahmaji will die one day. So that's why they are called fallible. They are conditioned. They are conditioned. They come here because they want to enjoy matter in some form, shape, and way. Therefore, they will be here perpetually, and unless they cultivate right desire to go and acquire qualification and perform activities according to that, they will perpetually get locked here. And unless a living entity attains Krishna, punarjanma the punarjanma is unavoidable for them. Mam Petyatu Kwanteya Punarjanma na Vidyate. That once you attain Krishna, then only Punarjanma nahi hoga. Aprapyamma nivartante mrityu samsara vartmane. He repeats this. So whatever gets repeated, all the important instructions are repeated by Krishna constantly. So here again, 9.3 verse, Krishna says that aprapyamma nivartante, jo mujhe prapta nahi kar sakte, they, what happens to them, they nivartante, they return. Where? To the mrityu samsara vartmane, to the material world. So Krishna, Prabhupada says further, in the spiritual world, however, they are always liberated in oneness. Now further, after describing these two type of beings, which practically covers everyone, those people living in the spiritual world, people living in all the living entities in the material world, and living entities in the spiritual world, Krishna says that apart from them, besides them, uttama purushastva anyaha, uttamaha purushastva anyaha, paramatmeti udarataha, yo lokatrayam avishya bibhartya avyaya ishvaraha. Besides these two, there is the greatest living personality, Uttama Purusha, the Supreme Soul, that imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them. Gama Avishya. In earlier 13th verse in the 15th chapter, we saw the similar term used by Krishna, Gama Avishya, that I enter into every planet. Now we know the process of creation, how it happens, that Kshirodakshai Vishnu is lying in the Karna ocean, and when he breathes out from every pore of his body, the universes are coming out. And in these universes, he enters into those universes, and as a Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And then he creates Brahmaji, and then the process of creation begins. All the bodies are made from all the bodies get manifested from their previous state, wherever they however they were, whichever condition they were in the previous, at the time of annihilation. From that moment onwards, they appear with their desires and suitable bodies to fulfill those desires based on their past karma. So the bodies take place. Then Krishna enters into each and every of those living entities as a Kshirodakshai Vishnu. So as a Karnodakshai Vishnu, he creates universes, he enters those universes, becomes Garbhodakshai Vishnu, enter each living entity, becomes Kshirodakshai Vishnu. And that's how it's called the word Anu, the Vishnu is the one who resides in every Anu, is called Vishnu. So Krishna actually enters into everything, and that's how he keeps everything moving, he keeps everything functioning. So, but why Krishna comes here? He comes here for the purpose of maintenance of the three world. So Avishya is a very important word. It is clearly stated here that above the innumerable living entities, some of whom are conditioned and some of whom are liberated, there is Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is a Paramatma. The purport is that amongst all the living entities, both conditioned and liberated, there is one supreme living entity, living personality, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who maintains them and gives them all the facility of enjoyment according to different work. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated in everyone's heart as Paramatma. A wise man who can understand him is eligible to attain perfect peace, not others. 18th verse, the third verse in the series of Traishloki Gita. Yasmat Yasmat aksharam atito aham. Yasmat aksharo atito aham. Aksharad api chottam chottamaha. Aksharad api chottamaha. Atosmi loke vedecha prathitah purushottama. Krishna says that yasmat aksharam atito aham. Now, the previous verse, Krishna made reference to himself. It was not a direct reference. He says Uttama Purusha. Now, Uttama Purusha tva anyaha. Now, there is a Uttam Purusha, which is different than these two classes of people, two classes of living entities that Krishna described, which are liberated and conditioned. He says, besides them, there is a Uttama Purusha. Now, he does not identify that Uttama Purusha as him, because in Vedascha Sarver Aham Eva Vedya, I am to be known by the Vedas. Now, Vedas directly do not give this kind of a conclusion. And since he is summarizing the teachings of Vedanta Sutra, he is bringing out the conclusions as it is described in the Vedas. So, Vedas talks about that Uttama Purusha, but does not Bhagavad Gita identify that Uttama Purusha as Krishna, where Krishna is saying that Yasmat Akshara Atito Aham. This Akshara, because I am transcendental beyond both the fallible and the infallible. Akshara, I'm beyond them. So I am here. Krishna connects the dot, connects that links himself and brings himself into the scene, saying that Uttama Purusha which Vedas talk about is me, and I am beyond. I'm transcendental to both fallible and infallible one. I'm not better amongst them. Amongst the liberated person, I'm not amongst all the tennis players. Say Roger Federer could be number one. It's not. Krishna said it's not like that. I'm completely a different category of person. I'm Uttama Purusha. I'm Purushottama. And I'm transcendental to both these living entities. None of these living entities will match me with my quality and quantities. I have unlimited qualities and I have quantities. Quantitatively, I am far, far, far greater than all of them put together also. So Krishna says I'm beyond both of them. And hence, I am the greatest. I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as the Supreme Person, Purushottama. So Prabhupada explains in the purport that how nobody can be equal to or greater than Krishna, neither the conditioned soul nor a liberated soul. Therefore, he is the greatest of all personalities. Now it is clear that living entities and supreme personalities are Godhead, are all individual. They are all individual. They are all persons, but they are all independent persons. The living entities are independent persons. The conditioned souls are independent persons, and living entity liberated persons are also independent. And Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is also a completely independent person. They don't merge, all put together. Doesn't happen like that. They maintains their individuality in all states, wherever, in the material world, in the spiritual world, everywhere. The difference is that the living entities, either in the conditioned state or in the liberated state, cannot surpass in quantity the inconceivable potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is incorrect to think that Supreme Person, the Supreme Lord and living entities, as being on the same level or equal in all respects. There is always a question of superiority and inferiority between these personalities. The word Uttama is very significant. No one can surpass Supreme Personality of Godhead. 19th verse and the 20th, one more verse we will review, where Krishna says that now he's identifying himself as the Supreme Person. What should anybody who know this, what are they expected to do? So that Krishna provide that information now. Yomam evam asum modho janati purushottamam sa sarva vida bhajati mam sarva bhavena bharata. A very beautiful verse. That yo mam evam asum mudho. that whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting, asammudho, janati Purushottama, that know me as the Purushottama, evam mam, yo mam, that knows me to be that Purushottama. That what are they supposed to do? Then what are they expected to do? He therefore engages himself in the full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata. Sa sarva vid bhajati mam sarva bhavena bharata. Sarva bhavena bharata is was also a similar term was used in the 10.8 when Krishna says that aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam sarva bhavena bharata. So similar kind of a that having known Krishna's greatness, having known that Krishna is a Purushottama, having known that it's not knowledge is not enough. This knowledge is not meant for speculation. This knowledge is meant for action. And that action is what Krishna describes here. Say that Sarva vid bhajati mam, Sarva bhavena bharata. Bhajati mam eva sammudho. So Krishna has explained, brought out his individuality very clearly over here, that he knows me as the Purushottama. Then bhajati mam sarva bhavena bharata. So there's no scope left for anyone to interpret it in an incorrect way, that Krishna is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here, Krishna establishes himself as very clear terms as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and as the only object of worship for all the living entities, be it in the material world or be it in the spiritual world. Now, Prabhupada says in the purport, now in this verse, the Supreme Personality of Godhead clearly explains that anyone who knows Lord Krishna to be the Supreme Person is actually the knower of everything. So Prabhupada puts it into things. One is for such a person, one who comes to this conclusion that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he knows everything as if he has studied all Vedas and he's performed all ritual, all sacrifices, and he is perfectly situated. Now, from now onwards, he should not try to worship demigods, or he should not go back on the path of again performing demigod worship or again doing ritualistic things. He should sarva bhavena bharata. He should, with all his emotions of heart, with wholeheartedly, he should start worshiping Krishna. That's what is expected out of any such person who has this knowledge. The imperfect knower, what does he do? He goes on simply speculating about the absolute truth. But the perfect knower, without wasting his valuable time, engages directly in the Krishna consciousness, the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. Why wasting time? Because it is, our time indeed is valuable. Our time indeed is short. We can't take time for granted. We can't take our life for granted. So the moment we come to know, the moment we get a conviction after studying 15 chapter or first 15 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, if you come to the conclusion that Krishna is that Supreme Personality of Godhead and worshipping him, lovingly serving him is the goal of life, then you should simply do that. Make that as your priority. Make that as your primary activity. Everything else should be done as long as it supports this primary objective. And anything that become a distraction to this primary objective should be rejected. Anukulyasya sankalpa ani pratikulyasya, reject what is pratikul, accept everything that is anukul. Anukul for what? For loving and serving Krishna. And pratikul, whatever will become an obstruction in lovingly serving Krishna, that you should reject. Throughout the whole Bhagavad Gita, this fact is being stressed at every step. And still, there are so many stubborn commentators on Bhagavad Gita who consider the supreme absolute truth and the living entities to be one and the same. This Prabhupada is talking very strongly for the Mayavadi philosophers. Again, very strikingly, Prabhupada says something which no other Acharya can really say with so much authority. Simply to hear like hog is not sufficient. Who is hog? I mean, Prabhupada writes this in the commentary of Bhagavad Gita in the 15th chapter, that Simply hear like a hog is not sufficient. One must be able to understand from the authorities. So all of us should not listen, hear like hogs. We all can close your eyes and imagine a hog in front of you, and then you can understand what Prabhupada is stressing, what the point is Prabhupada is stressing. So we should become intelligent enough to act on our knowledge. Otherwise, it will be like hearing like a hog. So it is not that one should simply speculate academically. One should submissively hear from Bhagavad Gita that these living entities are always subordinate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anyone who is able to understand this according to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, um, Shri Krishna knows the purpose of the Vedas, and no one else knows the purpose of the Vedas. The word bhajati is significant. Now, having known the purpose of the Vedas, what should you do? You should simply perform devotional service. In many places, the word bhajati is expressed in relationship with the service to the Supreme Personality of God, Supreme Lord. If a person is engaged in full Krishna consciousness in the devotional service of the Lord, it is to be understood that he has understood all Vedic knowledge. The Vaishnava Parampara, it is said that if one is engaged in the devotional service of Krishna, then there is no need for any other spiritual process for understanding the supreme absolute truth. He has done everything. He has learned all Vedas. He has attained everything. And now from now onwards, he simply has to be engaged in performing devotional service. And Prabhupada just stresses on that point. He has ended all preliminary processes for understanding. But if anyone, after speculating of hundreds and thousands of lives, does not come to the point that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and that one has to surrender there, all his speculation for so many years and lives are useless waste of time. Shrama eva hi kevalam, useless labor, Prabhupada describes sometimes. Then Krishna concludes this chapter by this beautiful verse, which says that iti guhyatamam shastram idam idam uktam maya nagha etad buddha buddhimanas etad buddha buddhimanas syat कृतकृत्यस्य bharata. So Krishna says, this is the most confidential part of Vedic scriptures. And Mayanaga means sinless. And it is disclosed by Krishna to Arjuna. So whoever understands this will become wise and his endeavors will know perfection. Prabhupada, right? The Lord clearly explains that this is the substance of all revealed scriptures. And one should understand this as it is given by Supreme by Krishna. In other words, by understanding this philosophy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and engaging in his transcendental service, everyone can become freed from all contaminations of the modes of material nature. Wherever devotional service exists, now Prabhupada compares anyone who has started performing devotional service, it is to be understood that he is now becoming sinless. That is one of the qualifications. He is non-envious is one of the qualification, and becoming sinless is another qualification. We may say that we may not be perfect, but we already would have started walking the path of becoming sinless. Eventually, otherwise devotional service is impossible to be performed by anyone. So if we are chanting, if we are hearing Krishna Katha, if we are developing taste for rati for hearing Krishna Katha, And if you are developing some kind of a test for chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, if you are engaged in, if we are look forward to associate with devotees, if we look forward to visit temple, if we look forward to go to Dham, visit Dham in association of devotees, we started performing devotional service, the sincere devotional service, which is our path of, we started walking the path of becoming sinless, becoming anasuya, becoming non-envious of Krishna and becoming sinless in our in this material world. We would not have become perfect, but we have started walking that path, and that is most important. So Krishna, the Prabhupada explains this, that same verse, the beautiful verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Krishna Surya Sama Maya Andhakar Jethe Krishna Tethe Nahi Maya Adhikar. That wherever there is a devotional service exists, the material contamination cannot coexist. Now we may say in our mind it can coexist, but that's the process of cheto darpana marjana that's happening. And if we continue with our process, the darpana will become clean and the contamination will actually go. And we might have had experienced this for some of our habits, some of our likings, some of our indulgences in past, which we had sincerely enjoyed before coming to Krishna consciousness, and we now find them distasteful. Um, could be meat eating for some, it could be alcohol for someone's, it could be gambling for some, it could be uh, some other some other things that we were indulging into. So all of those were extremely tasty. We relish some of those things in past, but now we, after having tasted prasad, after staying in association of devotees, after hearing Krishna Katha, after studying Bhagavad Gita, and by giving serious contemplation to the message that Krishna has given, to devotee has given, the devotional, the devotional prasad, by tasting the spiritual potency of prasad, accepting that prasad, we have developed the desire to uh, to to rise above those enjoyments, and no more we find those things enjoyable. It's like a child who is just taken birth will enjoy standing or crawling and then standing, but child who is already know how to stand, walk and run will not enjoy crawling anymore, which he enjoyed earlier, because he's getting far higher pleasures by performing these activities. So he will not want to come back to the lower level of happiness. But that's a very sattvic udaharan I can think of. But our activities are colorful, so which need not be discussed in the Bhagavad Gita class. But eventually those activities, we are walking a path where we, those eventually we will find those activities to be distasteful, and we will, even if they will exist in around us, we will not want to indulge in them very strongly. And some of those we already might have overcome, and some of those we sometime might be getting tempted. Eventually, if we perform our bhakti in the same way we are doing with all sincerity, eventually we will overcome all of these temptations, all of these activities which are keeping us bound in the material world. So we may not be perfect today, but the path is correct, the process is correct, the treatment is correct, the medicine is correct. So if we have faith in Krishna, his devotees, his message, and continue taking medicines, we have experienced some cure. All of us would have experienced some cure over last 2 years, ever since we started this class in sometime in July 2020. And most of you were there, and most of you have stayed until now. And that is not without some taste, that is not possible without some benefit you would have experienced, without some spiritual nectar, that spiritual bliss that you would have got. uh, and that has caused some of those changes to occur, because again, they don't coexist. If you have experiencing spiritual happiness, which means your material conditioning is reducing, otherwise you cannot experience spiritual happiness. So which means we are progressing, we are making some headway. and that is encouraging for all of us. So the Lord is said to be the sun, and the ignorance is called darkness. Where the sun is present, there is no question of darkness. Therefore, whenever devotional service is present, under the proper guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, there is no question of ignorance. The word anagha, by which Arjuna is addressed, is significant. Anagha is O sinless ones, means that unless one is free from all sinful reactions, it is very difficult to understand Krishna. One has to become free from all contaminations, all sinful activities, then he can understand. But devotional service is so pure and potent that once one is engaged in devotional service, he automatically comes to that stage of sinlessness. Now, how we can get distracted? Prabhupada gives two examples. The first, fall down, can be caused by desire to lord it over material nature. Thus, one give up the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Lord. Second weakness of heart is that, the weakness of the heart is that as one increases the propensity to lord it over material nature, he become attached to the matter and the possession of the matter. Now, possession of the matter is for enjoying matter. So possessing the becoming the lord of nature, lording it over the material nature, and enjoying nature, enjoying matter. These two propensities can trip us off this devotional path, transcendental of loving devotional service to Supreme Lord. So there is a possibility. So the problem of material existence are due to these weaknesses of heart. In this chapter, the first 5 verses describe the process of freeing oneself from these weaknesses of heart. Asanga shastrena dhrudena chitva, by the weapon of detachment you come out of it. And the rest of the chapter from 6th verse through the end discusses the Purushottama Yoga. In summary, the ultimate purpose of Vedic knowledge is to detach oneself from the entanglement of material world and to understand Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now again, to reiterate, now all that is mentioned in the Vedas does not speak of this purpose. In fact, there will be many Vedas in the second chapter also. There are there is a verse which describes that by performance of some sacrifices, you can actually go to Swargaloka, and there you can enjoy the heavenly pleasures. Now, where is the question of detachment from entanglement of material world, entanglements of this material world? There is a deeper attachment and deeper indulgence into the activities which will keep you perpetually bound to the material world. But Vedas speak about those actions as well. There could be sacrifices could be mentioned, some austerities to be performed to get those benefits, and so on and so forth. So Vedas, study of Veda may not really lead one to the right conclusion. So Krishna says it's futile. Don't waste your time there. So Traigunya Visha Veda, Naistraigunya Bhavarjana. So understand Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now this is the conclusion of Vedas. Anybody who know this one sentence can be considered as the knower of all the Veda, all the knowledge that that is written for various purposes. So Vedas have purpose. Its predominant purpose is to facilitate sense enjoyment, fulfill people's desires. It's not to help them liberate. That's Bhagavad Gita. That's what Bhagavad Gita does. And Bhagavatam gives you impetus and inspiration to work hard on your devotional service. So Bhagavad, that's why Bhagavatam, these scriptures need to be studied in the sequence. The Bhagavad Gita establishes Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This 15th chapter establishes Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And without doubt, it expects you to now perform devotional service towards Krishna, to love and serve Krishna. So this is what is expected now. So one who understands Krishna's supreme identity immediately surrenders unto him and engages in his loving devotional service. We now, having understood the same, we means all of us, now having understood the same, are expected to do as directed above. A devotee holds nothing back, and nothing holds a devotee back. A devotee holds nothing back, and nothing holds a devotee back in performance of loving devotional service to Krishna. Because now devotee has come to this conclusion, and devotee sarva bhavena bharata, sarva bhavena bhajati, wholeheartedly worshipping Krishna. For that, doing that, he will not hold anything back. Anything back means he will do it wholeheartedly. He will give everything to Krishna and Krishna consciousness. So and nothing can hold a devotee back. So if you are want bringing it to our level, we should hold nothing back, and nothing should hold us back. Back from what? Performing fundamental basic devotional service that we are expected to do. Chant 16 rounds. All of us are engaged with Krishna consciousness for some time now. All of us should be chanting 16 rounds. All of us should be insisting on eating prasad only. All of us should be eager to visit dham, eager to visit temple, eager to take association of devotees, eager to call devotees, eager to visit devotees, and hear more of Krishna Katha. They should develop taste for hearing more Krishna Katha. They should personally engage in learning about scriptures, reading scriptures, speaking. It's reading Prabhupada book. Prabhupada Bhagavad Gita is like associating with Prabhupada, directly hearing from Prabhupada, directly interacting with Prabhupada. And Prabhupada is divine. We call it his divine grace. So he's not transcendent. He's transcendental. He's not ordinary living entity who came to establish Krishna consciousness in this world, without which this world would have been incomplete by now. Today, but none of us would have been hearing Krishna Katha had Prabhupada not written this Bhagavad Gita as it is book. Had Prabhupada not translated 10 cantos of Bhagavad Gita, had Prabhupada not given us Chaitanya Charitamrita in English the way it is available right now, none of us probably would have been performing any devotional service. We probably could be, if we are all from pious families, we probably would be doing some lighting up some agarbatti somewhere, doing some diva, offering some lamp somewhere, offering some bhoga on occasions, but we would have never become serious practitioners of Krishna consciousness without Prabhupada. So a devotee holds nothing back, and nothing holds a devotee back. No matter what conditions are, no matter which situations we are in, we should continue to remember all the instructions of Guru Sadhu Shastra, and we should continue to perform the devotional service to the best of our ability, with faith of on the scriptures, on the Guru, on the Sadhu, and on Krishna himself, for going back to Godhead, back to Krishna at the end of our life. So the facility for remembering Krishna, performing devotional service, japa in the morning, and reading of Bhagavatam. We are reading 10th canto. It's so nectarian. Please join all of us to the extent you can. And but all of you should endeavor to join both these sessions whenever possible. And we can go to the question answer session now.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
So, actually, you reminded one beautiful verse which starts actually the journey, that Vishya Vinivartante Nirarashyate Hina Daso Varjam Raso Apyasya Param Drashtu Anivartate. So, and His Grace, Narottam Prabhuji says on this that when someone comes here, means, and on the question he was answering that how we can start getting the taste in Krishna consciousness. So he beautifully says that, and often Srila Prabhupada also explained on this, that we need not to develop a separate taste, but we need to practice devotional service practically, and then automatically the attachments to the materialistic world of sense pleasure or whatever pleasures we are engaged in, those are automatically eradicated, and that is the potency of devotional service to Krishna. And when you were reading in between, and I was remembering that yes, this is what is happening, and this is the grace of devotees, this is the mercy of devotees, this is the impact of association of devotees, and this is the impact of their direct teaching to us. And that is how means at least slight changes are happening in our life. At least I can talk about myself that these really works. But these, because since my endeavor is not that intense that it can work intensely, but again that ye yathamam prapadyante, that story is fully true. Since I am only failing on my part, but that holy name or whatever devotional service I am trying to do, even if I am trying to do, that is fructifying its result, and that distaste in the other things usually starts happening automatically. But that is not possible at all, because by if the association and the guidance of devotees is not there. So thank you very much. You are always blessing us with the this nectarian feeling, and sometimes it looks like that why we are engaged in our professional things, why we are not engaged in your professional things, so that we can have this discussion on day-to-day basis, rather why to wait for the 7 days. That sometimes becomes like the wait becomes very long for the 7 days itself. Otherwise, when I joined it at the very first lecture, I was thinking that this is too much long lecture of 2 hours, but eventually it looks like that it is very short time now. But this is all glories to you and the senior devotees, and your teachings and guidance. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for pouring in that beautiful nectar in the way it can be understood by the fallen one like me. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. So where should we start? So typically Rasopya, Rasopya Vishayavinivrtante. So by tasting higher taste, we can give up lower taste. But today our lower tastes are prominent for us. So, so unless we perform devotional service, higher taste will not come. So we should start performing devotional service irrespective of fact whether we experience higher taste, any taste or not. That's why it's called sadhana bhakti. It's by doing this bhakti forcibly at the beginning, we develop. It's like going to gym. Nobody likes to go to gym and get up early in the morning, go to gym and take weights. But because but if you wish to have a healthy body, that's what you should be doing. But and so at the beginning you may be forced to do it. So uh, devotees might be chasing you to read and post, read and post, read and post. But eventually you will develop taste and then you will read by yourself. Objective is that this is the initial push, like when the car is not starting, the people are pushing from behind. Now people are expected to push from behind. If they are our well wishers, they'll push and help. Taking their help, we should also endeavor to start the engine and start the car and start eventually driving all by ourselves. We shouldn't be completely dependent on the push that we get from behind for completing our journey. That's too much to expect. So we should start from somewhere, and we should start by practicing. By when people push us to get up in the morning and chant, we should say that this is Krishna acting through them. Otherwise, what is their need? What do they get? What commission they get in material terms? What do they get? What is in it for me? By if 20 people come for morning japa or 200 people come for morning japa, what is in there for me? Nothing. So if I want to do japa, I will do japa. But when people follow up, but then it's we should reciprocate accordingly, and we should also reciprocate in such a way that their efforts don't go waste, and we respond positively. We respond by starting to perform devotional service. Otherwise, what hope we have? We will try and enjoy to the best of our capacity. Our ability to enjoy will dwindle. We will stop seeing things, but our desire to see things will never go. We'll stop hearing, but desire to hear will not go. Our body abilities will dwindle. We may not be able to walk and talk and run and do various things, lift weights, whatever we do today. But those desires will not go away to do these things. We may still, at the age of 80, we may still want to go to Disneyland and enjoy those rides and so on and so forth. So these desires are not modifying. So your bodily abilities will go away. Eventually you will suffer because of this desires. You will continue to suffer because now you become like a ghost. You have a desires, but your body does not support. to fulfill anything. You have desire to eat 100 food items, but your body, there's no fire of digestion. Your body just can't digest. So you get into a very miserable kind of a condition. So getting to healthy condition is by so this practicing devotional service is the way out, and in the initial period when we are pushed to do it, we should reciprocate positively, and later, Krishna willing, Krishna's mercy, we will get taste, because everyone has got that taste. Otherwise, this nobody would have stayed long in the devotional service for too long. This 2 years is too long period. No, because people spend money, time, and the all their mind, body, soul, and material effort to travel 40 kilometers to reach temple on every Saturday, and we have so many of them doing it. So the taste will come, but I cannot wait for taste to get a taste before I start practicing. I have to practice now in whatever condition I am, whatever state I am, whatever stage I am, and I have to keep a faith that the cure will come, the taste will come. It has come for so many people, it will come for me as well. And that is the secret, that we keep practicing what's been told to us. Now, after having told this verse of 15.19, then you can say that I have nothing else to hold myself back. I have to perform bhakti, sarva bhavena bharata, with all my heart, all my wholeheartedly. I have to perform bhakti. Nothing should be holding me back now. Vinod Prabhu, you have a question? You can.
Yeah, Hare Krishna,
Thank you.
Dhanavad Pranam. The session was very nice, and we all indulge into a lot of nice discussion. One thing which was coming in my mind is, are we only responsible for all the desire which we have, or is any other factor which will affect our desires? Because it was discussed that we are the one who are controlling our desires.
So the desires may come from can have many come from many sources. For example, if you see an object, say samosa, a hot samosa, you may get a desire to immediately have it. Now, there is a direct relationship in the samosa and you, and then there is a direct desire that gets cultivated. However, if you see Bhagavad Gita, for example, you're not in Krishna consciousness, and you if you're have a pious background, you may not really want to turn your eyes away from it. Ye kya dekh liya maine, bahut ganda tha. But you will not want to you say ki, okay, but you will not feel like immediately picking up Bhagavad Gita, start reading. Oh, setting the scenes, this is so nice. Oh, start first verse. Oh, Dharma Kshetra Kurukshetra is so nice. Then 14th verse, second chapter, 47th verse, Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu karmachanam, and so on and so forth. So you will not have that desire immediately. However, if you happen to associate with a devotee who is extremely passionate about Bhagavad Gita, who extremely religious reading of Bhagavad Gita, and you happen to travel with him every day to your work, and you discuss Bhagavad Gita, this person just can't stop talking about Bhagavad Gita. The whole 1 hour of train journey, he speak about Bhagavad Gita all the time and various things about Bhagavad Gita. Then by hearing constantly from him, and you see him relish it so much, you also can develop a desire to pick up Bhagavad Gita and start reading it. कि इसमें ऐसा क्या है that is giving him so much nectar, that is giving him so much happiness. Let me find out. That's how you can pick up a desire in the second way. So there's a triangular relationship. By seeing Bhagavad Gita, you may not have a desire to really immediately pick up and start reading, but by seeing somebody else enjoy Bhagavad Gita, you may also develop a desire. You may also pick up the Bhagavad Gita copy now and start reading it. Now, this may happen for we've spoken with terms of Bhagavad Gita and samosa, which are still great. It's not bad examples, but this can happen with alcohol. This can happen with drugs. This can happen with illicit sex. This can happen with smoking. This can happen with meat eating, and then gambling, casino visit, discotheque visits, or visits to some another horrible places. Now, Now, when you turn this example towards these objects, there also we may get a desire, and we may sometimes get a direct desire, and that can trigger a desire, because if we have indulged in those activities in past. For example, if you have drunk, if you have you were have a habitual drunker or a regular drinker, you have drunk alcohol in past before in coming to Krishna consciousness, or if you have consumed meat regularly before coming to Krishna consciousness, you have some impressions of those objects, these objects giving you some happiness. Then you can't you cannot erase those. Eventually they will get buried by the spiritual impressions, but those impressions exist, so you have to deal with them whenever those objects pop up in front of you. Just like a samosa, these objects can give you a direct desire as well. So there could be a direct relationship between these objects, or there could be indirect relationship that you may have. May end up associating with a person with whom you travel every day to work, and whole time he speak about how he has enjoyed women in past. Whole time he speak about how different pubs he visits and drinks alcohol. How whole time 1 hour he spent in talking about how many different living entities he has eaten. Now you see him relishing these aspects of life as well. And if our piety is not strong, our this is the association, taking association. You're importing his desires, you're taking desires from him, seeing him relish these activities. Quite possible you may end up developing a desire to indulge in some of these activities. So it can work in either way, whichever way it comes to you. Finally, as a soul, uh, we can choose to dismiss it or choose to contemplate on it. If we entertain a desire, now somebody may give us an offer to come to a pub or for a party. They may say that you don't drink, you drink a juice there, and but you still come. And they could be our close friends, corporate event, family event, or whatever it could be. But now the desire has come, the opportunity of indulgence has come in front of you. Now it's up to us how we deal with it. Now that independence no one has taken away from us. Now we can say plain no, we can say a diplomatic no, or we may say that we will come, we will not do anything, or we may say we will come, we will not do anything, but we will end up doing everything, whatever they are doing. So that is our response to the desires that will come in front of me. So the question is, does Krishna also control our desires? Krishna respond to our desires. Krishna does not control our desires. He may give opportunities. If we have a sincere desire to perform bhakti, then he may provide us with more and more opportunity to choose bhakti, to give opportunity to associate with devotees, more opportunity to actually indulge, perform bhakti. And that he can do through devotees. Somebody sending us a WhatsApp message to join Japa session. Somebody sending us a WhatsApp message to join, to come to temple. So and so event is there. So and so festival is there. So and so Maharaj is giving class. Come, and so forth. So Krishna can give us opportunity, but it's up to us to act on it or not act on it, or to reject it. We may choose to dismiss it and move on in our life. And then Krishna, if you keep dismissing it often, Krishna may stop giving those opportunities as well, because then Krishna will see you need that. Krishna will then we go on the other path. There, we are not interested in, though we have all the knowledge, we are not interested in cultivating that knowledge. We may want to postpone it, maybe for when we become 60-year-old, we will do it. And then what other thing we will want to do? We will want to act at the level of body, to fulfill our bodily urges and bodily desires. And for that, you need to forget instructions given by Shastra. So Krishna give us that forgetfulness, and Krishna will give us remembrance that how you enjoyed. And that enjoyment can be in Sattva Guna also, that how you enjoyed, maintaining your family. when your son comes to you and say Papa, when your daughter walked first step, she stood up for the first time, she walked, took her first step, how nice it was. And how nice it is when all my relatives comes home, they talk about different things, how it's happening in their life, who is progressing, who is not progressing, who is going to America, who is coming from England. And all this discussion happens without Krishna being there, without Krishna's presence. Now, all this can also uh, give us some happiness. But here, there is a forgetfulness of Krishna. And Krishna give us that forgetfulness, his forgetfulness, and remembrance of what you relished other than Krishna. So you gives that remembrance and forgetfulness about his own instructions, so that we can continue to indulge in those activities. So Krishna does not manufacture desires in our heart, but he gives us facility for acting on those desires based once we make a choice.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so much for nice explanation. And then why suddenly sometimes we say that it is a Krishna desire or a God desire, that a thought came in my mind and I did so, it came as a desire in my thoughts.
So when we say Krishna willing and Krishna planting desires, so Krishna is always giving suggestions. So those suggestions are manifested to us sometimes. Sometimes we are able to hear that voice of Krishna, but which can also be heard. Krishna can give that, but again, Krishna cannot. Again, it doesn't become desire automatically. So we may see while traveling on the highway, we may go across 100 shops. Now each shop potentially can offer us something. And some of all those things we might need also. But none of those immediately give us a desire. Even if the desire comes, we may not really act on it immediately. For example, if you are going for an important interview or important meeting, and you happen to drive through one of your favorite restaurants, and so where in normal course, if you are going there, going on a normal casual drive with your family, you would have stopped and have something whatever you like in that restaurant. But now, since you are going for an urgent meeting, even if you cross the same path, you see the same restaurant, it's not stopping you. You are focused too much on the purpose of your meeting. So the desire can come, but you may not act on it. So similarly, Krishna may also give some suggestions, but to act on it or not act on it is up to us, and we may or may not really take any actions on it. Thereby, it's not that Krishna is desiring on our behalf. We can't outsource this activity to Krishna, but Krishna will respond the moment we act on our desire. We allow a desire to enter, and then we start contemplating on it. If it's a spiritual desire, Krishna start providing that facility. If it's a material desire, Krishna says that, okay, right now this person wants to enjoy material life, so accordingly Krishna arrange that facility. And when we say Krishna willing, it's Krishna willing, we will meet next Sunday, I may say that. Now that's more of a Krishna sanctioning, because for us it's not Krishna's will that matters. Krishna's sanction is what really matters. But in typically Prabhupada's spiritual master always used to say this: Krishna willing, we will do this. Krishna willing, we'll do that. Prabhupada used to say this, and that phrase has continued. But it's in for a conditioned soul like me, it's Krishna sanctioning. I will be able to speak with you all next Sunday. If he does not sanction, I may not. Might not be able to speak. I may get caught with some disease. I may get hurt myself, may get accident, and may suddenly have to go out of station. There could be 100 reasons for which I will not be able to speak next Sunday. But Krishna sanctioning, I may speak with you all next Sunday. So generically, that term is used as Krishna willing, but actually for us, for me at least, it's Krishna sanctioning. Okay, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
So,
Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
yeah, thank you, Vinod Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam for a nice question. No more questions, I believe, in the chat box also. Swapnil Prabhu, you're mentioning something. Survival instinct by birth is given by Krishna to all living entities. Hare Krishna. Survival instinct, yes, that's true. That's, you may call it survival instinct, or you may call it, this is functional knowledge. If I get a dog's body, I need to function in that body. So I need basic training. Now, my soul also needs that basic training to behave like a dog, and that training comes from Krishna. Okay, I think that probably don't have any other questions, so we'll end today's session. Thank you everyone for staying back till 1:30. It's 2.5 hours. I appreciate your your willingness to hear, and really thank you from the bottom of my heart for this seva opportunity. And Krishna willing, Krishna sanctioning, we will meet next Sunday. Thank you very much, everyone. Please keep reading Bhagavad Gita. Please posting your updates throughout the week. I'll keep sending reminders and keep attending chanting and hearing sessions on Zoom in the morning and in the evening to stay Krishna conscious all throughout the week. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.